Showtime.
Here we go. Showtime. We got Rockin' Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers, my buddy John Cole.
Stevie B is here to talk about Westerns. Put the comics
Stevie
away.
B, ready to talk about Westerns. Actually, I promised Robbie we would talk about horror
movies.
That's right. Marcus, you are correct, my friend.
Dave, I see Dave in the house.
Dave in the house. What's going on, Dave?
The second hour is going to be the Green Hornet. I'm just letting out.
All right, so there was no taco truck today. However,
dude, it's 40 degrees outside.
Granted, you don't have to. There won't be a huge line. Okay, but Mr. John Cole did redeem himself. He came walking into the building today with a big pizza. And it was excellent. It was crumble sausage because I hate sliced sausage on pizza.
You know what?
Okay, that's huge. And then what kind of peppers were on there?
Cherry peppers.
Cherry peppers. It was nice. Excellent. The only thing that was bad about the pizza was what this pizzeria named the pizza. It's the John Cole Special.
Oh.
Yeah, so the name was horrible, but the pizza was excellent.
I heard they got a really good Green Hornet special.
If JD checks his messenger, the picture is there. So
yeah, check when you get a chance, JD. Check what we've been eating here.
Yeah, I want to see this. I want to see this John Cole special. It sounds delicious.
It is.
It was
so good.
You know, he created it a long time ago. He closed during the pandemic because, let's be honest, nobody was out anywhere or whatever. I walked into this place at like 1 a.m. and he had forgotten to lock his door, and I had been catering, and the last thing I wanted was like steak or whatever.
So John broke in and started making pizza.
I didn't break in. I just said to him, "I'll take whatever you have, man." I said, "I'm just hungry. I've been working for like 12 hours." And he's, he had this and that and this and that. So I said, throw it on the pizza, and he did. And I wound up eating it in my truck. He came out to the parking lot to ask me how it was. It's like 2:30 in the morning. I give him a slice. We start talking. We become friends. Like 18 years later, he's sold a ton of those pizzas. In all fairness, and he knows it too, it's based on a pizza from a place down the street, which is a much higher visibility place, Tony's Baltimore Grill, which is a legendary joint in the Atlantic City area. And he's sort of every pizza in Atlantic City is kind of influenced by that place.
So what I can tell you is on Wednesday, we will have Green Hornet items up for sale.
Maybe I should bring something from my house.
Yeah, anything that you've taken a picture of, okay, and posted on your Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
No, I mean comics.
We got plenty here.
Hey, Ronald.
So Lars Mann's in the house. Ron, what's going on, buddy? And what's JD saying here? It's been getting below 40 degrees at night here, and the guys with taco tables outside of Ralph's are still serving. Good point. Of course, we're a little thinner blood here.
Man, I have a ton of respect for those guys. We talked about this before, man. Those street vendors who are in and around places like Ralph's, and especially during Comic-Con in San Diego, I mean, you watch them sell like 1,000 hot dogs in a day without blinking an eye.
So Stevie B says, if I can't get a taco truck, I'd settle out of court for a chimichanga cargo van.
Nice. That's not a bad idea. Any of those promos on Robbie's channel, but not ours?
I guess.
What?
Oh, I'm special. I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
You are super
she likes
special,
him.
My friend.
She is. She's tired of us, man. She likes Robbie.
Who isn't tired of us?
I know, right? Oh.
So, all right. So, as always, let's start with the Dynamite 10-pack. 10 random Dynamite titles. Cover price is $3.99 or higher. So, a suggested retail of $40 or higher for the kit. We have it for $5, as we always do for all 10 comics, 50 cents a comic. Thank you to our viewers. And for anybody that's looking to pick up something new that they haven't read before, a new title, this is a great way to get started. So
I think every week what I'm going to do is when we announce this, I'm going to recommend a book that somebody picked. Like if you suggest a book, Rex will try to stick it in there. And I'll tell you right now, if you order one this week, ask for a James Bond book. Because I got to tell you, if you're a James Bond fan, you know what I mean? The movies are few and far between.
Right.
And the truth is, Dynamite has scratched that James Bond list for a while. There have been crazy good creators like Jeff Parker. So the covers have been great. If you buy the Dynamite Readers 10-pack, shoot Rex an email and say, hey, man, if you see any James Bond, try to throw it in there.
Yeah.
There's actually there's some James Bond work by the artist and writer Ibrahim Mustafa that y'all have published that's really good. And he's going to be joining us tonight on Pop Culture Philosophers for our Superman movie franchise review. So, nice little combo there. He's a huge
That's
James Bond
reason Amy does his commercials. We got nothing.
Well, I got you.
You got nothing.
So we definitely should talk about the Batman movie coming out next week as well. I know John's excited.
Green Hornet 10 back.
What's that?
Dave wants an old Green Hornet 10 back.
I don't know if I can do that. I can definitely throw Green Hornets in there, but I don't know if I can
do it from this room.
We can do it from your own.
I can do it from my room.
Yeah, we can do it from your room. Yeah, so Dave, he's going to send you one. Actually, I know Dave Cerrone is a huge Perillo fan, and I found just a small book, and it's not in great condition. I was cleaning out the drawers in my desk here at work, and left over from the previous occupant, I guess. And it's a little beat up, but I was thinking about you, Dave. Next time you order something, I'll throw that book in. It's The Art of Lucio Perillo, but it's a thin one. It's not like the hardcover that they had. But I pulled it out. I pulled it aside because I pushed all the other comics that were in that drawer back to our warehouse. But I was thinking about you, Dave. So next time you order something, I'll throw that in there, buddy. All right, let's get to for anybody that has not watched the show before, we have two types of claims. We have a buy it now claim, and that we'll throw a price up there, and the first person to claim it on the chats will walk away with it. And then we'll have a best offer of the night claim, which means we'll start at a price that we'll throw out there, and the person that has the best offer by the end of the night, which is going to be $7.55, will claim that book. And JD will let us know as we're approaching the deadline for the clock. And always remember, if you're new, the submission forms are right there. JD just put it up there. Please fill out the submission forms. If your username doesn't match up to your screen name, then that gives us, or your real name, that'll give us your real name. But most importantly, it also
your government name.
Yeah, your government name. And it also very important, the ship to address. So we'll get started with the best offer claims. But
also, if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up.
Yes, please.
Like, share, because the more people we get in the room, the more fun we have. Hit the notification bell. I think by now most of our people kind of know, but the newer people, sometimes people are busy, they forget. I know there are stuff I've watched for years on YouTube, right? And I forget when it's coming on. And thankfully, when I hit the notification bell, I like, oh, good. It's
and totally changing directions here. I wanted to mention this, and we are a comic book show and entertainment show.
I forgot the tiki mug. Dang it!
Come on, get on it. Come on, John. But we're basically here to entertain, talk about comic books, spam, and anything else. But I do want to say that certainly I know everybody here. Our hearts go out to all the people in the Ukraine and the war that has obviously been gripping that entire country for the last week. I have really no words other than my thoughts and my prayers. And those of my family are with those poor people. And the resilience they've shown has been tremendous. I obviously hope this resolves itself very quickly with as few deaths as possible. In the 21st century, I really didn't foresee that something like this could happen again. So I wanted to make that statement only because it is relevant, and I am a child of parents that survived World War II, and that shaped who they became, and certainly shaped a lot of who I am, and even my daughter. So I can't even express the concern and pain that we certainly feel. But
I will say this real quick too.
Yes,
I'll just
please.
add that if you're feeling a certain kind of way about it, I understand people are going to Facebook, to social media, yelling, screaming, whatever. I certainly never control someone's self-expression, but if you really feel that strongly about it, there are a ton of aid agencies that could really use somebody throwing in 10 or 20 bucks in a box to help these guys out. I mean, there are going to be literally hundreds of thousands of people who are going to lose everything. Hopefully they don't lose their lives, but they're still, their homes, their businesses, whole buildings are just disappearing practically. they're going to need some help. And I think that, you can go. I mean, we're not going to throw anything up here.
Yeah,
you do your own research.
Yeah, I don't know of any. I do know that there are approved and sanctioned charities. Obviously, whenever tragedy occurs, there are some fake sites out there. I would encourage everybody to do their research. But I agree with John.
I mean, my suggestion, if you're looking for a place to start, and again, I don't know this, I would probably start like at the United Nations or a NATO website or something. I don't know.
It's been in the news. I haven't really had time. This thing has happened so fast. I don't think anybody has really kind of processed this. Certainly, I haven't. But I did want to make mention of that. I know we have a lot of fun on the show, but certainly, whenever tragedy of this nature happens, I just feel compelled to say something.
I don't want people to think we're living in like a vacuum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we definitely don't. Joel, thanks for joining us, buddy. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to get to our best offer items first. This way, leaving everybody enough time to get their
talk about horror movies,
and then we can get to horror movies. We can do some side Western talks, and then Robbie had a very interesting topic for when I was on his show on Friday. How to increase readership of comic books, which ended up opening up because Robbie's show that he does on Friday and I'm on is usually about 30 minutes or so. And we blew through 40 minutes and realized we just run out of time. It was
barely really scratched the surface, right?
Yeah. You really opened up a can of worms there, my friend.
That's what we do.
Of worms, if you will.
Yeah, wait till this week. Just wait till this week.
He does, and Robbie does not share with me the topic of discussions on his Friday shows until Friday morning. So I have zero time to think about it. So I'm just sitting there. Let me think about this one for a second. Let me make some notes. But if you haven't checked it out, check it out on Robbie's YouTube channel, Pop Culture Philosophers, every Friday night. I'm on his show with him, and we have topics of discussion, whatever's really kind of relevant in the comic book world. It's been a lot of fun. We never seem to run out of stuff to talk about, but then me, Robbie, and John, we never seem to run out of talking, period.
Hair makes us chatty.
Hair? Who has hair? I don't have. Oh,
hair makes us
I thought you said hair. I said, who has hair?
I thought he said nair. Is what I thought.
That removes hair. Men our age never ever. We don't even want to be in the same room as something that removes hair.
Wait, y'all never had an experience like me, and I tried to use some on my back hair, on my neck, and don't do that. That's bad. It burned. It was like a sunburn. It was terrible.
This is
like 20 years ago. This is like,
man, that would have gone viral. You could have made a TikTok. All right, had your girlfriend rip it off, and you could have been screaming.
Well, that was 20 years ago, man.
That was the best scene.
We didn't even have MySpace back then. I think maybe it got shared on LiveJournal or something. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I
for the back waxing, you're
40-year-old virgin. He said that was for real. Yeah, they really did.
They really did that,
and you could see the little droplets of blood starting to form after they ripped. I mean, that made everybody in the movie theater cringe. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. As soon as that happened and he screamed, you're like, oh no, that was a great movie. You should review that one. I know you're planned out all the way till August. I think you said last time, but
you know what we should get out of the way.
What should we get out of the way?
The statue.
Let's get the statue.
Let people know. Look, because some of the feedback I get sometimes is, there's not enough time, whatever. But
you're right. All right, so that's what we'll do, and then we'll get to the senseless banter.
No, I mean,
No, that's a good one. No. The kudos. Listen, you're on my good side. You brought pizza. Man, that was a big pizza, man. That box was like this. I mean,
that's huge. I think that's their extra large.
Yeah, it was. And again, John, you know your food, bro. I give you that. For some reason, I've never had a hot peppers with sausage on a pizza. I don't know why. It just never occurred to me in all these years to order it. But
it was sort of like a hangover cure when I was younger, man. Like they would, whatever you ate, you threw up a bunch of
chicken soup, dude. There used to also be a special chicken soup I used to drink for hangovers. So Jose Gonzalez, Vampirella, 50th anniversary, black and white artist proof edition. All right, suggested retail of $299.99, and we're doing it tonight. Best offer for $50, but Dwayne's already in it at $65. All right, Dwayne, you got it, my friend. All right.
Make a note to the publisher that I don't have this statue in black and white.
All right, send me an email.
Gorgeous statue. I love it.
Oh, I'm glad you said something. That reminds me. I got to talk to IT. That email junk folder is getting too big. It's taking up too much
It's like
memory.
when you get the Apple thing of, hey, man, you're going to have to buy more storage.
Lars, man, I love the curse word Steve made up on the fly during the scene. I know that was the best scene. And when I remember the interview when he said it was for real, I was like, get out, dude.
I'll tell you what I love about this statue. For fans of a certain generation, you tend to think of Vampirella in black and white. Right. Because, back in the day, the covers were always like really lushly done, but the interior pages were newsprint and black and white. So, you know what I mean? I would say for Vampirella fans, maybe 40 and over, you've kind of got that affection for a black and white version. So
version. Marcus is asking what were the toppings. So very important it was crumble sausage. Okay, I don't like sliced sausage. Not that I wouldn't eat it, but if that's all they have. But I don't like sliced sausage on pizza. So I like the crumble sausage.
Unfortunately, sometimes it gets chewy, especially when they try to do like the long, weird slices. It gets chewy. It's not
the sliced sausage never actually bakes in, and then it falls off. I hate that.
Well, they need to slice it thinner, is what I think they need to do. Right, slice it thinner, maybe it crisps up a little bit or something.
There's that, but if you looked at the picture of the pizza I made, like I guess it was 2 weeks ago now, I used burrata and I tuck the sausage in, so it has no choice but to bake.
I have no idea what burrata is.
It's like a make it home cheese. I do a roasted garlic burrata because so
JD says he checked your Insta. He didn't.
I shot you a picture. I haven't even posted it yet. I shot you a picture. It's in Messenger, JD. I don't know if you have access to that there or not.
Stevie B, it would work as a bookend. Of course it would. Why wouldn't it?
Buy two. Do we have two of these?
Well, he has one already, so that's why he's asking if it work
nice.
as a bookend. So Dwayne's a Pain says some sliced sausage has a snap and it's not ideal for pizza. I don't like. I don't.
Crumbled sausage is better.
Yeah. I just for pizza you gotta have crumbled sausage. I mean, again, it's not to say I wouldn't eat it if that was all the pizza joint had, but if given a preference, I gotta say that's the case for me. All right, so
I'll tell you what I want.
It was crumbled sausage. It was crumbled sausage and cherry peppers, is what y'all said, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. That sounds delicious.
Put
some Reaper on that. Put some Carolina Reapers on that. Now you're talking.
I want to be able to eat it. Why would I want to? Carolina Reaper, after you eat that first bite, you can't taste nothing else.
Nah, man, it's fine. It's fine.
It tastes hot.
I saw Carolina Reaper on like a buffalo chicken pizza, and just the smell of it was like.
Dave, very good question. I did not know that, but we will actually ask. I did not realize Musa Bekov was in Kazakhstan. Yeah. So yeah, we will actually ask that
Nick
question.
has his contact information.
Yeah,
so
sure,
that's
I'm
way
sure.
above our pay grade.
Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that, Dave. We appreciate it.
I'll tell you what I would want. I want two of those statues, one in color and one in black and white.
Send to my email. I'll wait until tomorrow because I need IT to clear the junk email folder out because my computer's acting funny now. Brandon, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for joining us. All right, so next, let's do another best offer. We're gonna do Strange Adventures #1, signed by Tom King. Suggested retail of $69.99. That's going to be best offer book tonight, starting at $20.
It's like a real trippy take with Adam Strange.
It is, right?
I love Adam Strange. I did not like the idea of this book when it came out. Evan Shaner, he's done stuff for Dynamite. He's done stuff for DC, obviously. I kind of like when it was like a good news, bad news thing. I heard he was going to be on the book and I'm like, cool. And then I heard they had like this weird kind of trippy take. And I was like, that's not really what I want to see. But I was mistaken. The book is really cool.
Right.
The book is, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where you have to kind of give it time. And if you give it time and read it, kind of set aside your preconceived notions. A lot of characters like Adam Strange, for me, they're locked in the 1950s. And that's kind of all I want to see. Jetpack, ray gun, radio helmet, damsel in distress, monster. To me, that's Adam Strange. These guys sort of had the heavy lifting of making Adam Strange more. And other creators have done it too. But I think these guys have really sort of, like nailed it. I've seen different versions of Adam Strange where I'm like, I don't know if I'm buying that so much. Like I bought the book, but I wasn't really You know, it wasn't really like they always throw Adam Strange in like one of the crises or something for like 2 panels, and I'm like,
Right.
Okay. Just to throw them in there, right? This book is another one. It's one that I'm kind of with John. I didn't necessarily like this take on Adam Strange, but people that I know that haven't read anything involving Adam Strange really like this book.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
And the artwork is really, really solid from Shaner and from Garrett's. So it's definitely interesting. The only piece of it I didn't like was the ending, because I think it kind of tainted a character I really like. But if you have no attachment to that character, you don't care. It's an interesting story, you know, so.
There's good news and bad news. There's a blog, and I forget who it is. It's called The Death of Continuity in Comics. And they talk about how now with the multiversing of publishers and this and that, continuity is sort of like a casualty of that. And there's like good news and bad news. I mean, the bad news is for older fans who've grown up with serialized comic, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to have 16 issues of a run, 1 through 16 something ends, and then when the new series starts, it's a completely different creative team, a completely different take.
Right.
It's a little bit of jarring, you know? I mean, there are people I know who read books like Thor and Daredevil from, you know, 4th or 5th grade to like graduate school. And there's just these huge runs where now all of a sudden, you know, issue 1, issue 5 canceled. Issue 1 is coming in 2 months. It's a little bit weird. I think the upside of that is, like Robbie just mentioned, if you have a character that you like and creators don't do right by that character from your perspective, just wait around.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I remember, like I like Hal Jordan. He's my favorite Green Lantern. He's the Green Lantern for me, quote unquote. There have been several times where Green Lantern is just where they've done Hal Jordan
I'm sure
dirty.
DC takes that into consideration.
And you know, so all I do is wait now,
Right.
and eventually I'll get the Hal Jordan I like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think I'm sure other people go through it too.
You haven't been emailing them?
The one cat, no. They forward those to you at rex.dynamite.com. You know what I mean? And it's the same with Green Hornet too. I don't want people to think I'm bashing on. There have been times where out of loyalty, I bought all the Green Hornet stuff of both the character and Dynamite. But there are times where I very much wanted to email the editor and be like, look, you need to contact me and have a discussion about Green Hornet before you keep doing this.
I will second, by the way, what Dave says down there. Mr. Miracle by Tom King, fantastic. So is his Omega Men, and his Vision series at Marvel is exemplary.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Hey, Nilo. But yeah, my point is we live in an era now where continuity is second. I know some people will say it's capitalism. Well, it's a business. Let's be honest.
Right.
But continuity has kind of taken a backseat to creative flexibility. Just because I don't like your take on a particular character, that doesn't mean it's not good. It's just not for me.
Right.
And if you go into a third printing, then clearly, you know, it's successful. Right. If you're happy with it as a creator and it's accepted in the marketplace, well, what difference does it make? Do I sit there and, you know, no, this isn't the Captain Future I want to read.
Yeah, and everybody's wanting to make that perennial evergreen thing that will sit on bookshelves for years. You know, your Watchmen, your Dark Knight Returns. Like Dark Knight Returns was a way different take on Batman than a lot of people at that time were wanting. Yeah. Right? But now that's the one that and Strange Adventures is kind of like that. It's a good book that anybody could pick up and read and enjoy.
Yes,
you don't need connection to 50 years of continuity. But
all right,
some of us like that connection.
Why you ought to be checking out Robbie's show.
Exactly. So we encourage everybody to check out Pop Culture Philosophers. That's Robbie's YouTube channel. All right. So, Ron, you want to see a CCA. All right. So we didn't quite finish all the best offers, but you know what? Let's give Ron a CCA. All right.
Oh, there's a CCA up there. One of my favorite Marvel characters. Do the New Avengers Hyperion one.
All right. So the guys in the back found these. So this is not on our website. We've never sold it before on the show. Literally, they were just, you know, going through inventory.
It's a good thing they gave them to you before me because they would not have been on the air.
Oh, they're on strict instructions. Oh,
Hyperion?
Never to hand you anything. Although your pizza may have changed.
I was going to say, you don't feed those guys back there.
Well, I did tell them, hey, there's pizza here.
I got an extra large. I got an extra large pizza that says I'm walking out with Alex Ross.
Hey, everybody needs the mailman. Somebody has to deliver the message. All right, so we have New Avengers #1, blank cover variant signed with a Hyperion color sketch by Ken Hazer.
Cool.
Suggested retail of $89.99. Tonight we have it as one of our 5-star at $50 books.
It's claimed already.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Ron.
gotcha, Ron. You got it, buddy. And then
I had a whole thing set up with the Squadron Supreme and Squadron Sinister and what.
I know. I was thinking about it too. I was going to be like Squadron Supreme from the '80s is one of my favorite series ever. And yep, it's
Mark
too bad.
Gruenwald. I mean, there was.
Yeah, that's great
I will
stuff.
say this, Ron. I'm glad you grabbed the book because it's very cool. But I will say this: if you're not familiar with who Hyperion is, if you're not familiar, you're exactly right, Dave. That was like a Jesse James move. He pulled the trigger and like a shot. It's like a shootout. If you don't know who the Squadron Supreme or the Squadron Sinister are, I would strongly suggest you kind of, Google it, look. A lot of times the issues are in dollar bins that you can find. I know the trade is available for like $9.95
right
in the local bookstore, the original trade. In summary, Marvel wanted to try to take a swing at the Justice League. They wanted to try to do a pass on their take on the Justice League. So you've got characters. Hyperion is their take on Superman. Now, Marvel's done a bunch of takes on Superman.
right
But this one is, this one is probably the best of the Marvel takes. I think Sentry gets a little too trippy, and I think Blue Marvel to me is more Captain Atom.
Yeah, he's a little bit more
I know he's
cosmic.
presented as Superman, but his powers, once he starts like reorganizing matter at the atomic level, that's very much like Captain Atom, Dr. Manhattan stuff.
Right.
Superman doesn't do that.
Yeah, John says, Ronald says, John, good to hear, but I'm not going to read any of it.
I know, Ron, that was for everybody else. That was for people that are like, who's Hyperion? Why did Ron pull the trigger on that?
And 62 Lefty Blues. Hey, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for joining us. All right.
John's right, though. Squadron Supreme, the Grunwald miniseries from the 80s, absolutely fantastic. We covered it on an episode of Comics Revisited on my channel. That is one of those deconstruction of superheroes became very popular, especially post-Watchmen. This is one of the first times I think that it really happens in a really interesting way, because they're not just doing their take on DC, which that is what they are. But then Grunwald came in. He was like, let's explore what it would be like in the real world if heroes tried to solve and fix everything. And it ain't going to work out right. And so it's some really interesting stuff. Very powerful.
So
I'll tell you who's a big fan of that story is John Byrne. Probably about 14 years ago, Byrne was at a panel, and he mentioned that someone asked him to do a Squadron Supreme sketch. And a little bit kind of got sidetracked, but he talked about everybody who worked in comics would have this conversation late at night, sitting in a coffee shop, sitting in a bar, at the train station, waiting to go to work. Marvel's characters are lower power level to better fit in and interact with their world. DC's characters, especially at the time Squadron Supreme was written, those people literally had godlike powers. If they decided to take over the planet, they could do it in like an afternoon.
all right, so hold that thought. We got to go to our first break. Stay with us. We'll be back in a few minutes to talk about anything we can think of.
Nice job, JD.
They say it, and it's true, that everything is getting faster. You're not getting any younger, and time is the single resource that you can never get back or get any more of. So why walk into your local comic shop blind when you can go in laser focused on the best books on the shelf?
Hi everybody, and welcome to Minute to Skim It. Yeah!
Spend 1 hour with Miss Jen and Bean, and they'll give you rapid-fire reviews of all the new comics hitting stores. Spend less time shopping and more time reading.
This is Provenance of Secrets. This is The Heathens. I read Wolverine number 17.
Minute to Skim It, every Tuesday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
Hey, I'm Garrett Gunn. You might know me from Good Boy, Warcorns, Franklin and Ghost, and you're watching The Experience.
Hey, and we're back. All right, so let's knock out the rest of these best offer books. Give everybody enough time. So next up, we got Vampirella Strikes #4, high-end Fabiano Neves Blood Red Ultra Limited Edition cover. Suggested retail of $50, and tonight it is one of our best offer books for starting at $10.
Nice. Great cover.
It's a really nice cover. This is a book I'll absolutely buy if nobody else does. I've got a couple copies of it, but this is a real nice copy we have.
All right. So for everybody else, best offer starting at $10. For John, would be best offer starting at $20.
Nice. I like the distinct.
There's the John surcharge. So Lars, man, all right, buddy, you're in it.
There we go. Good job.
Got you there, bud.
Here's my copy of Squadron Supreme right there. I just
nice. There you go.
That's the Alex Ross cover, right?
Yeah, dude, that's great. Look at those green shades on Hyperion. I love it. This is a second printing, so I just want to point out too that it says right there, note: second printing does not contain human ashes.
Yeah, there was some of Mark Grunwald's ashes upon his passing were included in one of the printings.
Yeah, the first printing, so that's cool.
I think it's super cool, but I understand why some people were unsettled by that.
Yeah, that's a little weird, dude.
I want a first printing, actually, to be honest with you. I think that's cool. I think that's cooler than the Kiss Blood bit, because this is a dude who lived and breathed comics. You know what I'm saying? And so Grunwald was one of the guys.
I've got the Kiss comics with G, and I have multiple stuff. I'm a Kiss fan.
They're gonna take those comics in the future and clone Kiss, by the way.
Oh, I hope so. Oh, you know what? That's a story.
Is it?
Doesn't that violate some sort of law somewhere? I know. You know what?
Nick, Robbie and I want to write a comic. Is that okay?
Yeah, we got a pitch for a Kiss comic, the next Kiss book.
I mean, it really started to freak me out when I found out. I started reading articles where people go to like Disney World with somebody's ashes and they toss them out at the Haunted Mansion. It was like, oh, dude.
You know, I was in Disney during December, right? We're sitting in Disney Springs, having my coffee in the morning. And I guess what happened was somebody tried to do this in one of the parks and was like, no. So they went over to this little kind of waterfront area in Disney Springs and let someone's ashes go. And I look at my wife, and my wife looks at me.
Hoping the wind's blowing downwind.
I got like a little espresso and a belief from this place. I picked it up, just walked right in the other direction. I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, but I'll tell you right now, it's not like, somebody was born in Disney Springs. They only dug this out like 15 years ago. There's a time and a place to do that. I don't know if 10:30 in the morning is the place to do it.
I get it because they do kind of create a cult-like kind of, for certain people that go there, they create a cult-like kind of behavior. So I could see somebody's, as their last their last wishes, but still it's just kind of creepy, I think. But all right, so next up we've got Spider-Gwen #2, Dynamic Forces exclusive variant by Jerome Opeña. Suggested retail of $29.99. It is going to be a best offer book starting at $10.
I think for the most part they've given up on the name Ghost Spider. I know they tried to push that real hard, and then somebody told me in like the latest version of one of the Marvel games, they're calling her Ghost Spider again. I just don't think that name's going to fly. I think Marvel's just going to have to accept the fact that she's Spider-Gwen, just like she's Gwen Vereen and Gwenpool. I just, you know what I mean? I just don't think that,
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
and also,
that's
all
what's
right,
called the
Lars,
Marvel
man.
Strike Forces Ghost
I
Spider.
got you down for 10, buddy.
and Ghost Spider sounds like it should be some kind of like Spider-Man Ghost Rider mashup, right?
Yeah, it's just not.
Actually, sounds like it should be a pepper,
The
Ghost
Ghost
Spider.
Spider. Yikes.
right?
As
So
long as the character is over and sells, I'm super happy because of all the different variants we've gotten of Spider-Man, she's my favorite.
right.
I kind of love what they did with that character.
All right. So next up, we have Batman number 89, Encore Edition, CGC graded 9.8. So suggested retail of $89.99. That is also a best offer book of the night, starting at $25. So there it is.
Yeah.
All right. So let me check that off the list. So I've been reading some of the pre-reviews of the new Batman movie. I know it's getting it. They went like full board dark. Reviews have been mixed. I'm not sure. What have you guys heard?
I've heard
Nothing.
good
I had
things.
that muted on social media. The word Batman. It's
I've
completely
heard-
muted.
Just put your fingers in your ears.
Only kidding. Lars Man dropping 25.
All right, buddy. I got you, Lars, man.
I've heard a lot of good things from some of the reviewers
have.
that have gotten a chance. There's some people I follow on YouTube, and they've gotten a chance to see it, and I kind of trust their opinions for the most part. And they seem to be really hyped for it. So I'm excited to check it out. It's going to be a long day at the theater because it's a 3-hour movie. You add in all the
I saw
previews,
that.
all that stuff. So it's going to be a long day, but
Yeah,
I'm
Triple B
excited to
also.
check it.
Yes, it's 3 hours
It's a
long.
long night for me because I'll wind up going to see it at like a midnight show. And
See, as much as John talks about Emmy Comments, what's going on, buddy? As much as John talks about, not liking Batman, he's going to go see the movie. I know.
I always go see the movies, and that's because before they started doing these movies, I used to say all the time, man, if they make comic book movies, I'd go and see them over and over again and get all my money. Well, guess what? 1989, they said, put your money where your mouth
Let's get
is.
John's money.
And I saw the original Batman in 1989. I legitimately must have seen that about 14 or 15 times in the theater. I would finish work, I would find a late show, and I would just sit in there. The more modern movies, I mean, I think people on Twitter kept track. I think every day for 16 days in a row, I went to see Avengers Endgame. I got up, let the dog out, blah, 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 jumped in and saw Avengers Endgame.
All right. So I got a question. So who do we think, which movie do we think was the worst Batman movie? The one with Val Kilmer, okay, or the one with George Clooney?
George Clooney, Batman and Robin. That's the worst one, I think. I like Batman Forever.
If it wasn't for the Batgirl character, I like Batgirl, and I don't think that what's her name did a bad job as Batgirl. I think she
From
was
Clueless. What's her name?
Alicia Silverstone.
Alicia, so I don't think she did a terrible job as Batman at all. She has hammered her performance in that movie. She said that, personally, she was kind of like all over the place, and she doesn't feel like that was a strong performance. She is not the reason that movie is terrible.
Yeah,
George Clooney. I'll tell you right now, George Clooney. You have to do two things, right? We've talked about this before. We use the pro wrestling term. You have to sell this, right? The original sell in movies was James Bond. When you look and you say, it doesn't matter where it comes in the movie. When you say my name is Bond, James Bond, you have to make me believe that.
Right.
And certain Bonds did that for me, and certain Bonds did not. More modern times, it's Batman. Every guy says it, I'm Batman. You have to make me believe that.
Right.
I'm sorry, but no. Like, a perfect example was Michael Keaton might not have been the ideal Bruce Wayne, but he was an amazing Batman.
Yeah, he was.
George Clooney, Val Kilmer was a great Bruce Wayne.
Dwayne's a pain. The ice skates and the boots.
Ice skates in the boots. Val Kilmer was very much a good Bruce Wayne. I just didn't buy him as Batman. And
Right,
of course,
I
the
agree with
hideous
that.
Joel
I
Schumacher
disagree.
suit.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I love Val Kilmer as Batman. First of all, he was more physical than Michael Keaton was as Batman, which I really, really liked. And I am a big George Clooney guy. Like, I'm a big mark for him. Like, I love George Clooney. And
I love Ocean's 11 and stuff like that. I think
this was just the problem with Batman and Robin. And Joel Schumacher said this in an interview. He said, this was the first and only movie experience I ever had where before we had any ideas, the people who were designing the toys had already designed everything. and
point.
he goes,
Incorporate that in there. Yeah.
And he's like, and I was 100% on board for it. This was straight up marketing is what the Batman and Robin movie turned out to be. Like Alicia Silverstone, not the perfect choice at all for Batgirl.
No.
She was just the it girl of the moment, right?
Agreed.
And like they didn't even care about the source material. Batgirl is Alfred's niece, and it's just a
there's
dumb
a lot
movie.
of weirdness there.
Yeah, and Bane,
I would agree.
totally underutilized Bane, who was the best Batman villain in decades. You know what I'm saying? So, but
I would agree there. Yeah,
Val Kilmer, I'm telling you, it's a more physical Batman than Michael Keaton was, and I really like that.
Wait, Michael Keaton? But I think Michael Keaton was somewhat restricted by the suit too. That suit.
Who do you think's in better shape in those days to do those kind of action things? Michael Keaton or Val Kilmer, right?
See, I'll see that Val Kilmer was in better shape, but Michael Keaton is the better actor.
I would agree with that.
And
I
so
would
when
agree
he
with that.
says I'm Batman, I believe it.
Yeah.
When Iceman tells me he's Batman, I'm like, shit, man. No, that's not working. You know what I mean?
That's
but
the next
I'll be
movie.
the first to admit that Val Kilmer was, I think, if I remember correctly, I think Michael Keaton is barely 5'10". And he talks about his level. He talked about that when he was the Vulture, you know, they kind of had a physical trainer with him. And he was one of those guys that admitted the heaviest thing he'd lifted in years was like a six-pack of beer.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Also
He's
keep in
not
mind
that
that his suit, Michael Keaton's suit, was very restrictive because they hadn't worked out all the kinks. He couldn't turn his head.
It was essentially scuba gear molded and sort of turned inside out. They used a heat gun, and they had like 9 different versions of the suit, and he could never turn his head.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I mean, they never got to turn a Batman's head in a movie until Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. That was the first time Batman, even in Batman Begins, he couldn't do that. They were still on that kind of cow. So Val Kilmer still had some of those restrictions, but like, I don't know. There's something, the physicality of Batman and Batman Forever. I'm not saying it's a good movie. It's not a good movie, but I like it. I love it.
Oh, no, yeah.
I mean,
I don't.
Well,
but I defend him in that movie. I really do.
Neither one was a good movie. Let's call it what it is. All right. But my question was, which one was worse? All right. So, let's get to the last best offer item so we can get that up there. And then Dave wants to see the mega pack.
Dave, did you ask a question about James Bond? Whoever that was, somebody asked me a question.
I think it was Dave, but let me get to the last best offer item and then you can ask the question. So, we have Vengeance of Vampirella, Volume 2, number 17, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8, suggested retail of $89.99. It is a best offer book starting at $25. So we have 2 CGCs tonight, 2 slab books that are best offers. But let's see. Ron says Michael portrayed Batman's mental instability the best.
Well, that's kind of what I meant. Where
he's a better actor.
You know, it's like personality versus physicality.
I got you, Lars, man.
Oh, and Dave, to answer your question, my favorite James Bond story from Dynamite is Origin. I'm a big sucker for origin stories in almost everything. This is essentially James Bond Year 1, or Year 0, and I absolutely love. I love that. I've been a reader of Jeff Parker's stuff for. It's got to be close to 20 years now.
All right, so Nilo is up to 35 on the Vampy number 17 slab 9.8.
My favorite Dynamite James Bond book is, I think it's called Vargar or something like that. It's it's like a Warren Ellis.
Vargar, yeah.
I love that one. And there's a Felix Leiter series that I don't remember if it's Diggle or James Robinson, but the Felix, because that's always been one of my favorite characters in the Bond franchise is Felix. So it's cool to see him kind of get his due.
I love the old joke where they'd always get someone different to play Felix Leiter.
Yeah, I know.
Like 5-6 different actors. The joke was who was going to be Felix Leiter.
Yeah, Dr. No was Jack Lord. From
Dr. No, it was Jack Lord.
Hawaii 5-0, yeah.
No, we don't.
No. Who put that up there? Is that JD?
It's got to be JD. He's the only one who can do that.
JD still doesn't put the pizza picture up there.
I know. I don't know what's up with
that. I messaged it to him.
Maybe he's anti-pizza. I don't know.
Can we get to the mega pack?
We can. All right, so the mega pack of the night. Let's see.
This is Green Hornet. I'm pulling the plug. I'll tell you right now.
It is not Green Hornet.
It is not.
It's a Spider-Man Mega Mix set. Suggested retail of $319.96.
Oh, man, that's so
dope.
Cool.
Includes Amazing Spider-Man number 49, Legacy 850, Chris Bacalo variant. CGC graded guaranteed 9.6. Age of Ultron #1, DF exclusive sketch art edition signed with head sketch from fan favorite Ken Hazer. At least John and I fan favorites. Amazing Spider-Man #36 signed by Nick Spencer. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3
already sold.
#1. Did it sell already?
Yeah, he didn't even finish.
Gotcha.
Large man got it. He put him in the mega pack.
All right.
It's like,
Large
he saw the zombie Spider-Man art.
Yeah,
and he was like,
as soon as he threw that up, I was like, wow.
All right, Lars, man. Do you still want to know the rest of the items in there?
No, he doesn't care about that.
And it's $150 for Amazing Fantasy #15. The last book was Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3 #1, M&M exclusive dual signature edition, signed by Humberto Ramos and Edgar Delgado. All right, just so you know, Lars, man. All right, so that is out of here. Let me see. All right, and you know what? Let me do a quick recap of all the items we've covered up to this point. All right, so we had Dynamite 10-pack reader set. As always, it's just retail $40 or higher. We have it tonight, as always, for $5. Let's see. We had Strange Tales #1 signed by Tom King. Suggested retail of $69.99. It is a best offer book starting at $20. Let's see. So, all right. So then we had, so that is a best offer book starting at $20. Then we had Vampirella Strikes #4, high-end Fabiano Neves, blood red, ultra limited edition cover. Suggested retail of $50. Also one of our best offer books. And Lars Man is in the lead at $10. Spider-Gwen #2, Dynamic Forces exclusive variant by Jerome Opeña. It is also a best offer book, and Lars Man is also in the lead on that one at 10. Let's see. The CCA Ron claimed.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so next we had Batman #89, Encore edition, CGC graded 9.8. It is a best offer book, and Lars Man is currently in the lead at 25. Then we had Vengeance of Vampirella, Volume 2, #17, CGC graded guaranteed 9.8. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is a best offer book, and Nilo is currently in the lead at 35. And then we had the statue of the night. Jose Gonzalez, Vampirella 50th anniversary, black and white, artist proof edition. Suggested retail of $299.99. It is a best offer item, and Dwayne Zapane is in the lead currently at $65.
That's amazing statue, man.
She's electrocuting that poor bat.
Right?
So JD Berry is $30 on the Batman. Hold on, buddy. Let me get back.
That's not the bat I want to see Vampirella electrocute.
What's that?
That's not the bat I want to see Vampirella electrocute.
Yeah, which bat would it be, my friend?
Didn't you just have it up there?
Yeah, it's a very cool pose, Lars, man. All right, so JD Berry
that's almost like the quintessential pose, right? Vampirella. I mean, we've got a huge standee that one night when Nick isn't looking, I'm just going to take out of here and put in my car.
Why do you tell me this? If you're caught and I have to go to depositions, I've got to say you told me that.
Oh, I'm going to be on the news.
And all these other people watching too.
When Rex is for the grand jury. Now we have questions, sir. Oh, no.
I don't know anything.
I don't know anything.
All his emails go to my junk email folder. I arranged that with my IT guy. All right. So what sketch cover on the bottom left, our left?
Is that Blade?
Okay. You know what? Let's do another CCA. We could get
absolutely,
CCA.
Yeah. We have time.
Hold on a second here. Let me find it. Okay. So on your left, that doesn't help me. That one, I'm assuming. Okay.
Nice.
So New Avengers #1, blank cover variant signed with a Blade color sketch by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is another one of our 5-star at $50 books. And let's see, Dave.
Ron claimed it already.
Nice.
Oh, geez, Ron, man.
That's one of my favorite comic book characters right there. So that's a well done.
Dave is bidding. Let me see. Vampirella. Gotcha. Okay. So Vampirella Strikes. Oh, no.
I've always loved Blade because he kind of was debuted in whatchamacallit in one of the magazine format. That's like a quintessential cover.
Hey, Dave. Neil is already in the lead with the Vampy CGC 9.8 at 35, buddy. Just to let you know.
Blade's first appearance was Tomb of Dracula 10. So, but he did have some of those. I love those Marvel 70s magazines and stuff.
That's where
like,
I first saw him, and I just, then I kind of went back, and at that time I was reading more magazines than comics, and I'm like, this is great, and people are like, oh no, he's in Tomb of Dracula, he's in blah blah blah.
So we've talked obviously about Blade and being really the first superhero movie that nobody, well, other than comic book people, nobody made the connection. It was the first one that kind of did not have the kind of Superman, Batman sort of legacy that they threw up there. And I think it was significant mainly because it proved that it didn't have to be Superman or Batman or Spider-Man or whatever. It didn't have to be one of those big names, but that the content of comic books was so strong that you could throw it a relatively unknown character to the rest of the world.
Look at Men in Black. People in American markets didn't even know Men in Black was a comic book.
Yes, that's exactly
I'm pretty
right.
sure.
Dave Cerrone, you didn't.
Same with the
Jedi mind trick me. The bar is very low, my friend.
I think Men in Black was a Marvel UK book.
Yeah, and the same thing with The Mask. The Dark Horse book, right? A lot of people love that movie, huge movie, never even knew it was a comic at all.
I just want to let Dave know you don't need Jedi powers to trick me. Actually, all you have to do is bring me a pizza.
Just send him an email.
No, that won't work. But just bring me a pizza. Nilo, Mystery Men, correct.
Yeah, that's another one. There are a lot of, when you kind of do the deep dive and you start, you're seeing a lot of stuff in the last 25-ish years that is not Spider-Man, Batman, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Hollywood kind of figured that out. That wow, look at this.
Brandon. Robbie might know better than I do, but I think MIB was a Marvel UK book or Marvel UK magazine book, if I remember where that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of just figured out, like, wow, look at all this source material sitting there, and things start to really take off. But I kind of look at Blade as like being the first one to really do that, to really take hold in that fashion.
I think Blade really kind of touches into the culture, right? Because when Blade drops, vampires are like white hot.
Yes.
Like vampires are everywhere. And then you're starting to, people like vampires are from here, there. Dracula's been everything, right?
Yeah.
Dracula's been on a postage stamp. It's been on everything. But Blade was one of those things that really succeeded in that space. Wesley Snipes was a big box office draw at that time.
Yes.
He was one of those guys that was in movies every 18 months.
He was on fire.
All right. I got the information from Men in Black here. So Men in Black had a first series of 3 issues published in 1990 by Aircell Comics. Aircell got acquired by Malibu. They then did a second series in 1991. Malibu was bought by Marvel. So when the movie was released, Marvel was able to do some reprints of the original series and like their own prequel, sequel, and movie adaptations.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right. So Lars Mann's got a 3/4 pound Whataburger with triple cheese on the way via delivery. Normally, I would be obsessed with that, and we'd be talking about cheeseburgers for the next half hour. But thankfully, John brought the pizza, so I'm not as hungry as I normally would be.
And also created by Lowell Cunningham.
So Dave Cerrone says Blade benefited from heavy VHS sales and rentals. Yeah, that's probably true too.
Well, because it was an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Right? You have Wesley Snipes, right? Yeah. Wesley Snipes at like the peak of his career, pretty much. Yeah. You got vampires, and they don't shy away from the horrific elements of it. They don't shy away from the action elements. And it was a really great blending of action, sci-fi, and horror.
Yeah.
Right? You had all that. And it was rated R. It had a kickin' soundtrack. Half of it was hip hop. Half of it was like electronic music. So the soundtracks. Blade is, to me, a watershed moment for comic book movies. I think it's one of the most important comic book films in history.
Back in the day, you couldn't go to someone's, like you had like a house party or whatever. Somewhere that VHS was playing.
Right.
Somewhere that was sitting there. You know what I mean? Like some corner of the room, house, people would have music, food, whatever. Somewhere in this house, there would be a TV with 7 or 8 people watching this movie over and over and over.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. JD says the comic was much different, though. MIB wasn't exactly a good organization. Dwayne's a pain. No X-Men movie without Blade. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I don't know if they kind of take that chance with, with the X-Men without the proof of, we've got, clearly. Well, I mean, you look at from Wesley Snipes' perspective, he's taking a risk, right? He's a big box office star. He's got a ton of hits. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to make you sort of like a vampire, not. You're going to have martial arts, but not really. You have all these weird weapons. And I know that at least partly his agent is like, don't do this.
Right.
This is a terrible idea. Thankfully, Snipes just goes all in on it. He doesn't hold back in the performance. He creates Blade. And you know what I mean? I think one of the reasons Blade has not resurfaced in the sort of Marvel world is they did like a TV show for a while. I just think Wesley Snipes really sort of put his stamp on that character, and they are going to have to find an actor of equal sort of presence to make.
So JD says Snipes financed it himself, took a huge personal risk on it.
It was a thing he did. He did it because he wanted to produce and star in a Black Panther film, but they decided to do Blade first.
Yeah.
And the idea was that he was going to do a Black Panther film with possibly John Singleton, but that never actually happened.
So, I mean, the way that I see it, I mean, it was the right time for him in the right place, and he was super hot at that time. Obviously now when they finally made the Black Panther film, they were not going to pick Wesley Snipes for it. But I think what's interesting.
I mean, I was just going to say, like Dave says, they do have a new Blade, so they're about to do Mahershala Ali as Blade. I'm really excited for that. So.
Oh, see, I would be fine with that. I've been a fan of that guy since he was in a show called The 4400. That guy is an actor, kind of jumps off the screen right away.
Right. All right, so we have to take our second break. Stay with us. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Thanks, Dave.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there, hi there, ho there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Kumpa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectables.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. Is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales.
Hi, I'm Nathan Fox. I'm chair of the MFA Visual Narrative Program at the School of Visual Arts, as well as co-creator and artist on the Weatherman series through Image Comics. And you are watching The Experience.
And we're back. And Rockin' Robbie is actually rocking.
He is.
Hey, I got a weird stretch here. Check this out. It's my VHS copy of Blade from back. This is my original one from back in the day. Don't have a VCR anymore, but a treasure in my collection.
Actually, you can pick them up on Amazon real cheap.
I was gonna say I see them for like 2 for $30 on eBay or whatever.
Super cheap.
They're pretty
Ron said- I
expensive.
didn't know
VHSs
this.
are nowadays,
I am
man.
not
I don't
the
know if
biggest
you've
fan of the
noticed.
Eternals movie,
I am not either, but I will
Ron
go back
said
and now look
it's
for it.
his voice at the end of when Dane Whitman's about to pick up the Ebony Blade.
Yeah, it's in the post-credit scene. You hear his
In
voice.
the post-credit scene, it's very cool. Nice pickup, Ron.
It would have been cooler though if we actually saw him, because I remember watching it being like, "Whose voice is that? Are we supposed to know who that is?"
Well, see, the problem is, I don't think, and I don't mean this as any disrespect to Ali, the actor, but like when they do the scene with Patrick Stewart's voice,
Yeah.
you know that's Patrick Stewart.
It's
You know what I
distinctive,
mean? You know, you've got like 3 generations of geeks now that have grown up listening to his voice. He's Captain Picard, he's Professor X. You know what I mean?
It's a very, and he has a very deep kind of in the accent.
You know, he's a Royal Shakespeare Company guy. That's,
Right,
you know,
exactly, yeah.
all those actors from the Royal Shakespeare Company era, Peter O'Toole, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart. They've all sort of got that. There's a reason why they always put
if,
them in
if you
these
heard
movies,
Ian
right?
McKellen's voice, you would also be able to recognize.
Yeah, it would be, you know, he's Gandalf, he's Magneto.
Sometimes they get a little too cute. In that movie, that was just, I'm sorry.
What, the Eternals?
Yeah, it was just.
I don't want to get sidetracked on that. The Eternals was not in my top 40 of Marvel films.
Not
I
mine
just put
either.
it that way.
Yeah, it was not.
I haven't even done 40. I love it. Same.
Oh man. All right. You know what? Let's do one of John's favorites. He saw the book and almost took it. I was watching him. Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters #1, Dynamic Forces exclusive, signed by cover artist Alex Ross. Suggested retail of $199.99. We have one available tonight for $100.
That's gorgeous,
This is
because
one of
that's
these things where, again, if you're of a certain age, Godzilla's a black and white movie, the original Godzilla. And I got to tell you, man, Alex Ross does an amazing job of sort of the perspective, the coloring. I mean, that's black and white, but that's black and white done to a.
Well, I'm a huge Alex Ross fan, obviously, but you know, I mean, there's a realism to everything he did.
Yeah, a huge Ross fan, huge Godzilla fan. So it's cool to see a character that you're not going to see from him very often, right? And kind of done in that, like John was talking about, the perspective of it, where it's in a Marvel's type style. I would love to see a painted story of Godzilla from him, because the way he made the Galactus stuff so epic, the Kirby and Lee stuff, he would do that exceptionally well with Godzilla. This is an amazing.
We get Fantastic Four from Alex Ross in April? No,
August. Oh, that
August.
graphic novel. Oh, have you seen the artwork for that, John?
Yeah.
It's like trippy, psychedelic. Like, I feel like I need to read it under a black light. It looks awesome, man.
I forgot, if you follow Sal Abernathy on Twitter, he will occasionally just kind of quote unquote leak some of these pictures out there. And I got to tell you, that's
leak.
Yeah, that's why I put it in quotes. I mean, but it's just, you're looking at this thing and that's the same exact reaction I had. I almost feel like I should be like reading this under black light.
So Lars Man says I put Eternals just above New Mutants. JD, I forgot, was a fan of New Mutants. Adrian, what's going on, Adrian? Says I honestly forgot that New Mutants was a movie.
That's worse.
And I think most people did.
And I'm trying to forget that it was a movie.
So Nilo says Eternals is better than X-Men Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse. Those films were bad. Dark Phoenix was made twice.
Still
wow,
Nilo, man.
Wow, he's coming after the X-Men.
Do you have any X-Men up here? Because I'm gonna take that down right now. He ain't been on that.
I'm an X-Men fan, so even if the movie's bad, I mean I can still muscle through it. The Eternals, I don't know. Again, you know, Chloe Zhao was just probably not the best pick for director. It's not in our wheelhouse.
I think The Eternals was one of those movies that was screamed to be set in a different time period, and the time period they should have set it in was the 1960s. When Jack Kirby was in the full throes of his love affair with Eric Van Daniken's Chariot of the Gods, right? You could have shot it in a different way. I just don't think it resonated. And I know that people were like, oh, no, it really did. I'll just say this. I will be the first one to buy drinks at the bar when Eternals 2 makes it to the movie theater. I'll just put it that way.
I'll be putting that in my search engine because as soon as I hear news of that, boy, we're going to the bar. So, all right. So next book up, Suicide Squad, King Shark #1, signed by Tim Seeley. Suggested retail of $49.99. Tonight we have it for $29.99. We have one available at that price. So, I don't know. King Shark.
I agree, Dwayne. You're right. If Eternals returns, it'll probably be as a Disney Plus series, maybe even something.
It might have been better if they did it that way. You know, I really kind of feel that way. Is that it would have made a much better presentation as a series.
They were wanting to put too much into it. Right.
Yeah.
You know,
and the movie was too long. They didn't explore the relationships I think we expected them to explore. You know,
well, if they're doing a series, they can introduce the characters a little bit more. They can do that type of storytelling where you're watching 2021 and like 2021 BC, like, you know what I mean? And kind of seeing where they're kind of coming from this. Plus, and I think, not nice to cast him off. God, I can't think of his name. Arthur C. Clarke said, talking about characters that have lifespans of more than a few hundred years, even if they're advanced beings, they're not going to remember stuff from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And the problem with that is when you have characters that have lived thousands of years, it's hard for a person watching the movie to believe that you remembered who said what, in what bedroom, while at what restaurant, wearing this shirt 4,000 years ago. Most people can't remember what they had for lunch yesterday.
I don't think they had restaurants 4,000 years ago.
Sure they did.
Oh, yeah, they
Are
did.
you sure?
People have always been giving people money for food.
The second oldest profession is selling food.
What's the first?
Come on.
That'll have to be on. To
Okay.
be on the Experience After Dark.
I think I figured it out.
Come on, bro.
Sorry,
So
man.
Dwayne goes, they're already. Dwayne, who was it? Hold on a second. Let me go back here for a second. I gotta switch screens. Who was it? Was it Dwayne Zapane said it or?
No, Stevie B is right. Road
no,
to
Dave
Perdition was a
Cerrone.
comic book movie.
Dave Cerrone news. They already announced the sequel. It's What If? What if Eternals was good?
Ouch! Yikes. But yeah, Stevie B just mentioned, Road to Perdition was, I'm not sure who did that, but yeah, that was a graphic novel.
Isn't that Max Allan Collins? Is it the same guy?
I believe it is, but I don't know who the publisher for that was.
It was DC, I think, wasn't it? Maybe. I don't know. Let me look that up. And then there was a History of Violence. A lot of people don't think realize that that's a comic book too.
Oh yeah, you know what? You kind of forget about this stuff, and then
It's Max Allan Collins who did Road to Perdition.
Neil said the oldest profession is comic speculation. Absolutely right.
All right, so let's get the last CCA out there.
Yep.
It is Fantastic Four #1, blank cover variant, signed with sketch cover art of Mr. Fantastic by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is another one of our 5-star books at $50. So,
Road to Perdition was Paradox Press, but it did eventually. Some of the sequels and prequels got picked up, I remember, by Vertigo. So
okay,
there
cool.
you go.
So we kind of wanted to address, and we could start talking about horror films, but I kind of want to address what Robbie brought up on his show on Friday. How to get more people reading comic books, and that really opened up a can of worms.
Well, in theory, if we offered more books instead of talking about horror movies, that's how we could get.
Why? Ron's buying a whole bunch of them. He's never going to read them.
Ron will send you the bill. We'll just take it.
He even admitted it. But I mean, it's an interesting question, because how do you get readership up? Because the moviegoers, the rise in the number of moviegoers for comic book films and TV series have not followed along in pace with the comic book readership.
I'll go last.
Okay, so
you guys
Dave's
discuss this.
Dave's got a comment here. How do you get more people reading comics? Stop rebooting.
I think we've talked about this. Continuity was a fatality of commercialism, of wanting to give creators more. I mean, imagine if they had never gone beyond the original concept of, like, we'll pick a character. I won't even pick a super famous character. I'll be like the Falcon, right? Literally, you're telling the same stories. A new creative team comes, and you're like, no, he's got to be Captain America's sidekick. He's got to have the bird. Characters need to be able to breathe and grow a little bit. And I think when you're telling stories of characters that are decades old and you still need to be doing the book every so often, I think you can do one of two things. You can replace the character by letting them age naturally, right? Sam Wilson should probably be the president of the United States, a man in his 60s. And there should be some young, fit, soldier or adventurer in his or her 20s. That's the Falcon, right? Same with Peter Parker. Peter Parker should be teaching in a university.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. I mean, the comment you made about commercialism, and I think it's been happening to anything that's creative. Okay, so you look at movies, and what have they been doing? Even TV shows, what have they been doing? A lot of rebooting. Okay, I mean, you have Hawaii Five-0 on TV. You have revamps of Spider-Man. Let's just bring all the previous Spider-Mans onto one movie screen. Remakes of classic movies or successful movies. I mean, it's been a general trend in that, whether it be Hollywood or the big two, they're kind of like, it's almost as if they're running out of new ideas, or they want to take the safe route. They want to do things that they know has a high probability of selling. Okay. And, Dave brings up another good point. Fact, the reason Marvel and DC keep rebooting is merchandising sales. And I'll tell you, believe it or not, I'll tell you who really showed or demonstrated that path can work. Because when my daughter was real small, it was an amazing thing. She loved Barbies, had the castle, the car, all that stuff. And then what ended up happening was they would push in the toy stores a particular Barbie theme, and there'd be a whole universe and all the ancillary product. And then not too long after that, a video of that would come out, a DVD for that universe would come out. So that was the ultimate of commercializing that creative part, because they would actually produce the toys, get them into Toys R Us, and have the children come in and go, whoa, look at that, and then follow up with the DVD, which I found amazing, because usually, as George Lucas did it, make the film, make the toys, but Barbie found a way, make the toys, and if they sell enough, then we'll make a DVD and sell even more.
Like Rom Space Night.
Exactly. That to me was an amazing thing when they did that.
So I got a couple things here real quick. I saw that Dave was talking about manga. Now, we talked about the popularity of manga, right? So there is a market of people that want to read, whether it's digital or whether it's physical. There are people that want to read and will read in mass amounts. And we're talking about not just older readers, we're talking about young readers too. Things like My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer. And like, these are really huge books. And even scholastic books, things like Dogman sell ridiculous at like scholastic book fairs and things like that, right? So there is a market. So there's got to be some kind of something going there, right? With the mangas, yes. They do go hundreds of issues or chapters, you can say. Those chapters are usually released digitally on a very cheaply priced app. And then that turns those fans into people that want to buy the collected versions. And the other cool thing is, if someone comes in my shop and they say, hey, I've heard about Demon Slayer, where do I start? We go, Volume 1. Where you don't really have that so much with some of the big two properties.
Right.
I guess that's why they try to reboot, to keep those numbers fresh. And maybe they're thinking that people don't want Volume 1 of Spider-Man necessarily to be the Ditko stuff, which is ridiculous to me, because I think that's amazing and beautiful. But somebody just recently announced a strategy that I thought was very interesting in trying to appeal to kids and get them reading. Todd McFarlane has just announced that he's doing this new line of action figures called Page Punchers, and they're 3 3/4-inch action figures. He showed off a Superman, a Batman, a Black Adam, and a Flash. Well, Flash and Black Adam have movies coming out, Superman, Batman, right? They each come with a comic book, right? Like Flash comes with Flashpoint #1. Black Adam comes with a Black Adam book, right? They each come with a comic book that's actually well designed to be somebody's first experience reading a comic, and they're only $10. $10 for a full comic and a toy. That's awesome, because toys are expensive, comics are expensive. That's a really good way that I think usually putting a comic in a toy doesn't do anything. But you never know. I think that's a good idea. Somebody trying. I think that's him actively trying to come up with something.
Well, so Dwayne Zapane brings up an interesting point. Look at the toy market. Toys R Us closed because kids don't play with toys. It's video games, tablets, phones. They need to promote digital. Robbie and I touched on that a little bit on Friday. Chill out, man. Hey, thanks for joining us, buddy.
That's partly true, though.
And when
Toys R Us also closed because they had a horrible. They were overextended.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm certainly not saying he's wrong, but there's more factors than the fact that kids stopped buying.
Yeah,
toys.
they were running in the red because they had overextended.
The Amazoning of the economy, the retail economy, is a big part of why a lot of these places.
Well, Toys R Us also borrowed too much.
They were all upside down in their financial contracts. Again, I agree that digital. I got slammed for. I contributed to a comic podcast a couple of years ago, and we discussed this. And I was like the Grim Reaper. I said, I don't think you do. I believe that the way newspaper morphed into radio, morphed into television, has morphed into the internet. I think, to a certain extent, that's the way comic books are now. They started as comic strips. Then they're comic books, then they're kind of went into graphic novel form. They had a bunch of different sort of all over the place with Treasury Edition and magazine size. Then it went into TV and cartoons, toys, and now they're movies and video games. And I just don't think, sure, you'll always have people that buy a comic book, but in enough numbers to justify, I mean, let's be honest, creators have to get paid, right? If the reason a book is $5 is because creators are getting paid, some creators want to have ownership rights, promotion of books. I mean, you and I are at least you're closer than I am, but we're at least reasonably close to how comics get made to know.
Right.
It's an expensive proposition. That's the reason why books are $4 and $5 each.
So Dwayne DePayne says it's just one example. Look at Walmart and Target toy aisles, nowhere near what it was years ago.
That's true.
I would agree with that. I have a young nephew as well. Thankfully, I don't have to buy toys for my daughter anymore. And when you go in the toy aisle, I will tell you half of it is Legos. They control half of the toys that you see at the stores.
Yeah,
it's just and people's
marketing is world class. I mean,
right. But you bring up another point. People's shopping habits have changed too.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a tough nut. Somebody, I forget who, mentioned about moving to digital. Maybe it was Dwayne DePayne. I don't remember. That was something that Robbie and I talked about in increasing readership, and kind of touched on, how kids' habits have changed. Is that trying to peel into the future? One of I think the tough parts is that we've seen what happens with regular books, and you and I were just talking about it before the show about moving to Kindle, because it really doesn't matter to us. If it's a good book, we want to read it. It really doesn't matter. And you were talking about audiobooks, right?
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter to us, the format or the delivery format, But comics are a little bit different. Actually, very different, because there is still that physical nature of the comic. But what does the future hold? Because I think what we talked about on Robbie's show was the part that's a little dangerous here is that what happens to the physical book when the generation that has a kind of attachment to it, you, me, Robbie, whatever, what happens when we're all gone? Okay. Because kids don't read books. They may read, but they don't read physical
books.
When I'm
gone, my wife is throwing a party, and I guess the bonfire will be all my comics that have filled up her house.
Do you know what kind of food she's going to be serving?
Well, that's why we gotta market towards where young people are getting their information from today. We're competing with TikTok.
The street?
You get what I'm saying? We're competing with like shorts on YouTube. We're competing with things like that. So like with manga, you'll pay like a fee. Say if you want to get Shonen Jump or whatever, I think it's like an app now. You pay just a handful of dollars. It's like way cheaper than a Netflix subscription or something like that, right? And you get like, most of these things are like bi-weekly. You get maybe like 8 to 10 pages every 2 weeks. You get that. Those people, a lot of them, go out and buy the collections. They become physical collectors. Some of them do. But the point is creating the content. And the other thing about manga is the consistency, where it's like, okay, yeah, I got 100 chapters of this. I got 1,000 issues of One Piece. It all looks the same. It's all told the same. It's the same writing. It's the same visuals. That's kind of important, is consistency. And depending on it, we got to understand we're fighting against TikTok, not fighting against, but that's the generation. Maybe one day print media will be completely dead when we're long and gone, when we're long gone.
Give it 4 months.
We gotta, but you gotta get into that. You gotta make it affordable. Don't be scared. Stay consistent. Get writers and artists to be on books for a long time.
Yeah, you're touching on what John mentioned earlier about continuity.
Yeah.
And it's I tell you, it's an interesting problem that I think we're going to see unfold over the next several years. But all right, real quick, let's get to we have a Walking Dead.
Oh, nice.
Talking about. All right, so we have The Walking Dead number 132, Ultra Limited Blood Red Signature Series Edition by Walking Dead artist Stefano Guadiano. Suggested retail of $49.99. We have one tonight available for $19.92, the year that Image first started. But yeah, I don't know how this is going to turn out, because 20 years ago, if you told me I'd be reading my, just novels off my phone, I would have told you you're crazy. Okay. But then 20 years ago, the phone I had was pretty crappy.
I was going to say my StarTAC wouldn't have fit a novel.
Yeah.
Largeman wants to.
All right, Largeman, you got it,
what
buddy.
we should do? We should bust out a few with the slabs.
Yeah, we should.
I think we covered both of them.
Do we have any more?
We have one more, I think. All right. Yeah. You know what? Let's do the last slab first. You got it, Largeman. We got you down for The Walking Dead. All right. So the last slab of the night. Amazing Spider-Man number 85, Peach Momoko Classic Homage Variant, CGC graded, guaranteed 9.8.
She did a nice job there, man.
I really like this homage.
She did a nice job there.
Yeah, it's really classic.
I really like the background on that.
Suggested retail of $99.99. We have one available tonight for $89.89.
A year from now, this is going to be a $300 slab, because her sort of
she has a
rep
unique
continues growing and growing. Her fan base continues to grow. Somebody's going to get this book at $89.99, and they're going to be laughing all the way to the bank next year.
Agreed. So, I mean, it's how technology has changed our lives over the last 20, 30 years. It's just been amazingly fast. I mean, I couldn't even in my younger days imagine that it would have worked out this way. But Dave Cerrone says Momoko's fan base is dedicated. That's for sure.
Yeah, they really are. Well, if you watched Meg's Headroom, you knew this was coming.
Back to the Future. I'm still waiting for my self-lacing.
Marty, it's your kids. Yeah,
I'm still waiting for my self-lacing sneaker high tops.
No, we made those.
So Dave says he interviewed her. She's an intense worker. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I know she's not everybody's cup of tea per se, but those that do follow her and are very dedicated, as Dave said. Personally, I really love, kind of her spin on things, especially when she's doing any kind of homage book.
Ron is clear.
Okay, Ron, you got it, buddy.
I like her aesthetic. I like Rose Besh's aesthetic. People that are doing things a little bit differently. We talked previously about Arthur Sudan. These are aesthetics that 25 years ago you probably would have seen. If you saw them at all, they'd be probably on some, shindy comic, way in a rack in the bottom of the store, away from 18 racks of Lobo and Punisher and Wolverine and all the Slash comics that were popular then. You know what I mean? I think that you have to kind of try that. They have to let people, and I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of wanting certain characters to be drawn in a certain style, right? I see Superman, I want him drawn a certain way. And when he's not drawn that way, I'm sort of become disconnected. Probably one of the nicest creators I've ever met, by far. I've met this guy several times in shows. He vacations where I grew up on Long Beach Island in New Jersey, or he used to anyway. Is J.R. Jr., John Romita Jr. When he did Superman, I was just like, that's a bridge too far for me. I love when the guys Daredevil, Punisher, like Spider-Man, any of that stuff I'm fine with. Superman has to have a certain look. And I think as talented as he is, it's like Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby's an architect of modern comics.
Right.
I do not particularly like Kirby's Superman. I just don't. I don't mean it as a disrespect or anything like that. But
Romita Jr.'s got that kind of Kirby energy that's very appropriate for Marvel. I thought the same thing about a lot of his DC work too. And also he had to do it during that New 52 era where the suits were way more complex, and that doesn't suit itself to his work, his line work.
It's not. One of the things I always liked about John Byrne's Superman is in his mind, same with Batman, if you see some of his stuff, he tried to keep it real simple because these were the first characters. When you look at Byrne doing more recent characters, he's fine doing all kinds of crazy backgrounds and, straps and zippers and stuff like that. When he does characters like Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Fantastic Four, he kept them all relatively simple because in his mind, they were from the beginning of the era and they shouldn't be crazy. I mean, there are creators that jumped into the Fantastic Four. They practically look like cyborgs. Everybody's got a weird radio on their ear or whatever. I'm like, hold on a second, man. This guy, I remember at one point, Reed Richards had something around his neck and his head. This is the guy that discovered the negative zone. He doesn't need a radio around his head.
Right. So Dwayne DePayne says, what's crazy to me, like Robbie held up that Blade VHS and that technology came and went so fast, we are now in the digital streaming era. It's wild to see what's come and gone. Actually, VHS was around for quite some time. If you're pacing out how technology changed. I remember digital audio tapes.
Yeah, I was going to say the DAT tape. Yeah.
It was longer than DVD, I would think, probably. The life of the VHS, because it's the 70s, right? That's when VHS kind of started. It was in the 70s. Right?
VHS
Bing
started.
Crosby Productions got the trademark for the kind of tape machine sort of technology in like 1959. They applied for it, and it was granted like a year and a half later. That's how old that idea of technology is. First, the cassettes were larger, then they were smaller, then they were kind of VHS size. We had the kind of love affair briefly with Beta.
Right.
But that was literally technology from the 60s.
So actually, Dave, we've covered all the slabs. My friend Nilo, Beta. Yeah, Betamax actually lasted for about a minute.
Laserdisc.
Yeah, Laserdisc. Actually,
Laserdiscs were a precursor to DVDs.
Well, Laserdiscs were very, very popular in like Asia and stuff. People really went in for that. I didn't see the quality difference, but all right. So we're gonna go to our last and final break, and when we come back, we'll hit the Dynamite Virgin covers. So we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds. A promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey. And behind every page, there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop today. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
And we're back. So 62 left. He says technology is now moving faster than ever, and your computer or phone is old by the time you get it home. That's probably true. And Marcus,
it's been all downhill since my talking Viewmaster. I just want to make sure that's out there.
That thing ate batteries like nobody's business.
What did I care? My father was paying for him. That was his job.
Well, you had to keep replacing them. Marcus
that was
says,
his job to keep replacing.
Marcus says Betamax was the HD DVD for VHS. That was true.
That's true.
Yeah, I worked in movie retail when that war was going on, and as soon as Disney went with Blu-ray, I was like, "It's over. It's over."
Listen, it's the way that technology has changed. I mean, I never thought, 40 years ago things would be, we'd be getting all of our information off a phone. That libraries would pretty much, be empty by this point in time. I'll give you an example. My daughter, I remember when my daughter in high school had her first big research project, and she was complaining about how much work she had to do and all the things she had to look up. And I go, I look at her, I go, you have no clue. She goes, what do you mean? I go, all the information is accessible to you right here on the internet. I said, back in my day, I have to go to the public library. I have to go to the card system and the Dewey Decimal System. And then invariably, I pick out the card, okay, with the summary. Okay, I wrote a lot of papers just using that summary on that little card. And then you go to the shelves, and always the book's not there. Okay, after all of it, and then you have to go back down and talk to the cranky old librarian.
I will say this about technology: if you're shocked by the curve of technology, you did not pay attention to the lessons of classic Star Trek. They told you everything. For example, nobody's caught dead without their communicator. It's a cell phone. For a while, we had flip phones.
We made it look like a communicator.
Everything was.
But they did predict one thing very, very wrong. Remember, Kirk always used to sign things? Yeah, the stylus thing died.
Oh, yeah, the stylus
that
thing
didn't work.
Make it, but
that did not work.
The tablet did.
Yes, the tablet
did. Yes. Made it.
Tablets, the flat screen TVs, all that kind of stuff.
Encyclopedias, man, oh man. My mom, I remember the salesman came to our house, sold my mom the World Book. I had all of them. Okay, I had all of them. It was just crazy.
I remember having to do a research paper and being like, these encyclopedias are 15 years old. What am I supposed to do with this? This is 15 years old. It's got West Germany in it. I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing with this, man.
It's just, it really is. It's just almost shocking how quickly it's changed. And I forget who said it, but as time goes on, maybe it was Stevie B or Lefty, as time goes on, it's happening even faster.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
it's
you look
exponential is what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. An exponential growth.
That's how evolution works. So.
Oh, Marcus, no. My mom bought the whole set at one time.
The whole set.
She didn't want to wait for one volume.
That's what our family did with the Time Life books. They used to come once a month. Now my dad paid the money so that they all showed up in like 6 boxes.
Yeah, my mom, she saw me. She says, "You don't look that bright. I better get the whole A to Z right now."
So,
we can't be waiting every month.
I got one more thing real quick I want to show off, but there's my VHS copy of Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Sweet. That's great.
Right? Because we're going to be talking about this movie over at PCP Movie Night tonight, as well as Superman 1, 2, and 3. And Ibrahim Mustafa says that this is his favorite Superman movie. So
this is the Richard Pryor one, right?
No, that's part 3. This is the one with the nuclear man. This one's terrible, man. It's the only Superman movie I have on VHS, though. But do we need to do the contest, Rex? We need to do the contest.
We do need to do the contest. All right, let me get through the Dynamite books real quick, and then we'll do the contest. Tonight will be. We forgot to send this to you, JD. I apologize, but it is a. Vanna White's going to go up there and show it to you. It is a Deja Thoris. Hold on. Yeah, your future as a hand model is probably not going to take off, John. I'm just saying. Oh, Lars, man, that's a good one. Yes. Yes, I remember that.
I still think I owe them a lot of money, actually.
Yeah, that's just.
My mom was so mad.
You guys will have to take our word for it. The DJ Thoris card is really cool.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Oh, he's got it.
Thank you.
Oh, cool. There it is.
My mom was so mad. I said, "Mom, it's a penny. All these albums came in." She goes, "There's no way it's a penny." And then the bill started coming. My mom was so mad at me.
Well, I'm old enough to remember when people would tape a penny or a nickel to a card and send it back.
I remember when I got Sea Monkeys. Okay, at the back of the ad of every My mom's looking at it like, I go, look, Mom, it's sea monkey. She goes, it's brine, son. Okay. What did she said that she would marinate meat in it or something like that.
Yeah, how ridiculous is that? We used to be able to just clip out this coupon, send it in, and then all of a sudden 12 CDs wind up at your house, and your parents are like, "What the hell's going on?"
Yep.
Now people are buying like $1,000 kids are buying like $1,000 TVs on their phones, like for their like that happened to my boss one time. His kids like to get on his phone and they'll get on his Amazon account and just buy stuff. And I'm like, oh no, what a world we live in.
All right, so let me get to the Dynamite books, and then we'll do the contest drawing. All right, so first up is Hell Sonia number 3, Lucio Perillo, Virgin cover, suggested retail of $50, and we have it tonight for $40. Let's see, Ron $8,000 later.
These Virgin covers are so cool.
All right, so it is suggested retail of $50, and we have it for $40. All right, so that is available tonight. We have one available. Okay, so next up is Hell Sonia number 3, cosplay Virgin cover, suggested retail of $50, and we have one for $40.
You can go find Gracie over on Twitter, and today she posted a picture of this, and later she posted a picture of her Ventress cosplay. And I got to tell you, we're fortunate to have some really top shelf cosplayers for Dynamite covers. But some of the stuff that Gracie does, she's a great social media follow. You really kind of get to see the process. You know what I mean? She sort of does the videos, the time-lapse videos where you see her.
Right.
And the next thing you know, the one she did today was just crazy good.
So, all right. So, and then next up after that is Sheena, Queen of the Jungle number 4, Ultraviolet, Lucio Perillo, Virgin cover.
Yeah.
Suggested retail of $50, and we have one available tonight for $40.
Robbie suggests Skeleton for $10.
This is crazy. I love it. I love
Isn't
those
that
colors.
amazing?
Oh my god.
Dwayne's opinion says, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think I had a dream one time that looked like this visually, but
I know, right?
And what were you drinking the night before?
Yeah, Dwayne
all right.
didn't even wait to claim Sheena. Of course he claimed Sheena.
All right, buddy. Dwayne's a pain. I got you, buddy.
Man, that is just.
So Dwayne's a pain says his teacher told him that to order all you could because you can't enter a contract with a child. Yeah, that's very good advice. But I forgot after my mom beat the crap out of me. She wasn't too happy about that.
well, I don't know who Bobby Phillips is, but he owes them some money. I'm just going to say that.
Nice.
All right. So next up we have Dynamite Never Dies.
Dynamite.
Dynamite. Okay.
My goodness.
Oh my Lord, dude! It was just one pizza. Never Dies number 1, Arthur Sudam, Virgin cover, suggested retail of $50, and we have one for $40 tonight. And gosh, was that the heater?
I was going to say, is that the heater or?
I think it's broken. It's not supposed to sound like that.
I guess Nick is done. This is our last episode. He's blowing
up the building. All right, and then we have the final one. Dynamite.
Thank you.
Never Dies number 1, Lee Ricks Lee, Virgin cover, suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40.
I love this one too. The contrast, the color contrast here is so cool. Or maybe I should say inverted color contrast here is so cool.
Yeah, I told our IT guy their camera's all over the place now, John, so we don't have to search here anymore when you leave the building. All right, so then I guess it is time for us to run the contest.
The contest.
Robbie will spin Robbie's wheel of ridiculousness. I forget. What did you call it last time? You don't remember.
It's Rockin' Robbie's ridiculous randomizer of revolution. That's what it is. Let's just say that's what it is tonight.
You too. You just keep making it up.
It's the same words, just in different forms. So this is from our How Do We Bring New Readers into Comics video, and I'm clicking it. It's spinning, and the winner is Stevie B's House of Collectables.
Nice, Stevie B. Congratulations.
And he's talking about being at Shea Stadium for the wedding of Spider-Man and Mary Jane, where people were throwing away the free copies of the wedding. When I had Jim Shooter on a panel a couple years ago, he was at a local con in our town. I got to do the panel with him. He was talking about that event at Shea Stadium with the marriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. So
all right, so
awesome.
Okay, So Stevie B is clearly not drinking tonight. So
no, he was prepped with horror stuff.
I know. All right, so we have to trade paper dad. What's going on, buddy? Station. All right, so we do have to move into our horror conversation because we did promise.
Oh, you took too much time with the death of the comic book industry.
Sorry. Gonna throw another book out there.
Maybe I think it was too much time on the John Cole special pizza. Maybe I don't know.
There's that too.
It was good though. All right, so next up, Star Wars Rebel Heist #1 Silver Signature Series signed by Matt Kint. Suggested 60. We have one available for $69.99. I love that Han Solo cover. So that is also available tonight. So horror top 5. What are we thinking? Robbie's
top 5 horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
Top 5 horror movies of all time. Ron wants to know what the current bid on the Batman slab is.
Ron, the Batman. I'll do a recap in a second. The Batman number 89. Currently, J.D. Barry is in the lead at 30. So let us know, Ron, if you want to jump in on that.
My top 5 is going to change a lot, Rex, but off the dome real quick, Suspiria is my number 1. It's a Dario Argento film. I love that one. Dracula, the original 32 one with Bela Lugosi. That's one of my favorites. Oh, my goodness. Oh, this seems so hard, but it's not. What do y'all think? I got to think a little bit more.
I got to be honest. So here becomes the interesting question.
Day of the Dead by George Romero. I'm sorry.
For me, and there's going to be some disagreement because is it sci-fi, is it horror, would have to be Alien.
That's sci-fi horror. I would count that.
Yeah, I mean, like the Halloween films, the Friday the 13th films. I watched them all the sequels. I enjoyed them, but I don't know. I wouldn't really call it my favorite. The Keanu Reeves Dracula, I thought was pretty. Actually, I thought it was pretty good. You didn't like it, really? Oh, 62 Lefty, John Carpenter, the Thing, and Cronenberg's The Fly.
Event Horizon was good. It had a potential to even be better.
Yeah,
because it kind of brushed right up against Lovecraft. Somebody pointed this out. By 1980, horror had striated, where it was past just like Universal type monsters. You had slasher films. Somebody just mentioned The Shining.
Rubenstein. Actually, The Shining's an interesting one because my daughter and I.
It's a ghost story, essentially.
Well, here's what's funny, and I never knew this, and it was just because my daughter and I were in Colorado for a softball tournament, and we had a free day, and we wanted to go to Rocky Mountain National Park. And when we get there, the guy tells us, "Oh, dude, the line to get in is like an hour long," and we got there late. And then he shows me the map, and it's like to get to the end, it's like another 50 miles of winding roads up the mountain. So we ended up.
Quick, Joel, excellent taste. I just had to say
Frank and Weenie.
Okay,
I had to say that.
So Amy totally agrees with you, Joel.
Frank and Weenie.
What was interesting was we went to this place that's right near the entrance to the national park called the Stanley Hotel. And the Stanley Hotel, although it did not shoot The Shining there, Stephen King and his wife did stop there. And at that point, it was in the 70s, and Stanley Hotel was actually going under. And he and his wife got caught in a snowstorm, sound familiar? And they stopped there, and they were coming off season. So it was pretty much empty. There were no guests. There was a minimal amount of staff just closing it up for the winter. And they ended up staying there because they were trapped in the snow, and that was the inspiration for The Shining. And I got to tell you, it was amazing. Now it's packed; it's absolutely slammed.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like a year ahead reservations.
We took the tour, which was really cool. If anybody's in the Colorado area, you go into the Rocky Mountains, I would definitely carve out a day to visit the Stanley Hotel.
It's the Overlook Hotel. It will always be the Overlook Hotel.
It really, you know why it's the Overlook
Hotel?
The
Overlook Hotel technically is a set, right?
Yeah.
I understand
some
why
exteriors there,
that.
but yeah.
Do
they not have a room 237 or something like that?
That I don't remember because
I don't think they actually have a room 237 because everybody was.
I think certain things were basically created for the movie.
Yeah, but I understand why he called it Overlook Hotel because there is an advantage point on that property where you're not looking at just a mountainscape everywhere, and it sits high up from where the town is. So it's up the road to get to the entrance to the national park. And it was stunningly beautiful. And I'll never forget this. It has no central air, but the way that the main house was constructed with spiral stairways on both ends, it allows the wind to, I never felt hot. It was kind of a hot day. And, you're Mile High. It was,
your moment has come. Lee Bissell wants a recap.
All right. Yes. You want a recap, buddy? I got a recap. All right. So we will do the recap.
We're going to do
we'll
3
talk
hours
about
tonight at the show?
No.
3 hours?
No, I don't have enough product for 3 hours. All right.
I'll take care of that.
So,
you're
going to run home.
I'm going to run home. I'll be right back.
So I promise we'll pick up this horror story because Stevie B prepared for it next Monday. I apologize. And that'll be the first topic we lead off with. So we did Dynamite 10-pack, reader set, 10 random Dynamite titles. As always, $5. Let's see. We still have available Star Wars Rebel Heist #1, signature series by Matt Kinn, $69.99. We have one at that price.
That's a great cover.
Strange Adventures #1, signed by Tom King. Suggested retail of $69.99. It is a best offer book starting at $20, and there are no offers on it currently.
Yeah, $25.
All right, you got it, buddy. Gotcha. All right, so then we have Suicide Squad, King Shark, #1, signed by Tim Seeley. Suggested retail of $49.99. We have it for $29.99. And then we had Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters #1, DF exclusive, signed by cover artist Alex Ross. Suggested retail of $199.99. We have one available for $100. Then we had Vampirella Strikes #4, high-end Fabiano Neves, ultra limited edition cover. It is a best offer item, and Lars Man is currently in the lead at 10. Then we had Spider-Gwen #2, Dynamic Forces exclusive variant by Jerome Opeña. It is a best offer book. Lars Man is in the lead at 10. Then we had Fantastic Four #1, blank cover variant signed with sketch cover art of Mr. Fantastic by Ken Hazer. Suggested retail of $89.99. It is one of our 5-star at $50 books. Then we had Batman #89, Encore edition, CGC graded 9.8. Currently, J.D. Berry is in the lead at 30. Then we had Vengeance of Vampirella, Volume 2, #17, CGC graded 9.8. Another one of our best offer books, and Nilo is currently in the lead at 35. Then let's see. Let me get to the statue real quick because it is a best offer item. And then we had the Jose Gonzalez Vampirella 50th anniversary, black and white artist proof edition.
Yes, the artist proof statue. This is
suggested retail of $299.99. And Dwayne's A Pain is in the lead at 65. And let's see, did that cover everything? Yes, except for the Virgin covers, which we'll run through. And everybody keep in mind, 5 minutes left for the best offer items. Keep in mind there is a bit of a 20-second lag time, I want to say. So keep that in mind. All right, so Ronald is bidding 35 on the Batman.
They both, Joel, they're both there.
Hey, Joel. Ron, I got in right before you, buddy. Let's see. Batman. So Ron is at 35.
Yeah, I think Ron was first. So Joel, if you want, you got to kind of bump up a little bit.
All right. So, and then real quick with the Dynamite books, we had, let's see. Joel's up to 40.
J.D. Berry wants to know, and he's right, we did not show.
We did not, but we can.
Batman
right?
Black and White, and Joel is up to 40 on the Batman.
All right, Joel. Hold on.
Yeah, we should have showed the show. This is a very cool book. Is this like a Black Label book or something?
40. Okay. So let's do the black and white real quick. Batman Black and White #1, signed by James Tinian IV. Suggested retail of $69.99. We have one tonight available for $27.
Are you sure? That seems really low for a James in the fourth.
It's what it says on my sheet. I'm just reading the sheet.
Beautiful cover.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm like Ron Burgundy. I'll read anything you put in front of me.
Is that Greg Capullo on the cover?
It looks like
it. Looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So, all right. So,
see, that's a great example, and I realize it's easier to do with black and white than color, but we were talking about simplifying characters, right? Like, Batman doesn't need. Batman's greatest weapon is his brain. So obviously he's got stuff that, utility belt, whatever. But some of the versions of Batman you see, again, it's almost like he's a cyborg. And I understand every artist has their take on it, but no, Batman doesn't have pockets and pouches everywhere. That's what the belt is for.
Batman hater. All right, so let's go through the Dynamite comics real quick before we get to the end here. Hell Sonia #3, Lucio Perillo, Virgin cover, suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40. Hell Sonia #3, cosplay, Virgin cover, Gracie the cosplayer, suggested retail of $50, and we have one for $40. Then Dynamite Never Dies #1, Arthur Sudam, Virgin cover, suggested retail of $50. We have one available for $40. And then Dynamite Never Dies #1, Lee Ricks Lee, Virgin cover, suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40.
And Nilo, you're right. Batman should not be Iron Man. Even Batman Beyond is an Iron Man.
The character has just been so done that everybody's trying to put a new twist on it.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Continuity sort of falling by the wayside for capitalism, commercialism, whatever you want to call it. Everything's been done. I mean, people are like, well, everything is sort of like a variant now. Well, how old is Elseworlds? And before Elseworlds, it was Just Imagine. Marvel had What If. I mean, everybody is like, my mind is blown because someone else is Spider-Man. What If was doing someone else's Spider-Man in like the 70s?
Yeah, but that's What If.
This is real.
What's that?
This is real. That was a What If.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it might have been Jim Lee who said the way things work in DC now, all those Elseworlds books, those are all real universes. Now, I realized when they got to like 52, they had to limit it to 52, but...
John, it's not.
Who am I going to listen to? You or Jim Lee?
Depends.
I'm going to listen to Jim.
You get to see Jim Lee every week?
The answer's going to be Jim Lee. Just spoiler alert.
No, it shouldn't be. That's wrong. So just to remind everybody, Rockin Robbie and JD, if you have a second to throw up the link to his YouTube channel, Pop Culture Philosophers, they will be reviewing tonight Superman, Quest for Peace. Man, that was a bad movie.
I thought time stopped for a moment. Well, we're doing all...
Hey, what happened there?
All four.
What's the current price? Ron wants to know what's the current price on the Vampirella.
All right. Vampy is, let me see. The Vampirella, Nilo's in the lead at 35, my friend.
We're doing all four of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies tonight. We're doing 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just
1 and 2. I love those.
Yeah, me too.
3, you're starting to use old clips now.
And 3 is a Richard Pryor movie, which is really weird. That movie is straight up a comedy. Like rewatching
it is. It's Brewster's Millions with Superman. It's
exactly. They were really milking that one, boy. They were really.
Richard Pryor was hot at that time. His stand-up specials, his movies.
But the special effects were by 3. You could tell they were reusing things from 1 and 2, and 1 and 2.
And 4 is the worst of that. 4 reuses a lot.
Oh yeah,
it's really bad and obvious.
4 is really bad. Yeah, 4 is really bad.
By the time you got to 4, I don't think you had the budget. I think people had seen it done before.
I was really disappointed because I thought that, look at this, nice. Superman and then, Batman. I thought, this is going to take off. And then they come up with these crappy versions of Superman. It was like.
Part 4 is a canon film. I mean, that's the company that did Cyborg with Van Damme and Masters of the Universe.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, that's a canon. And Canon made certain types of movies, cheap, fun, ridiculous movies. Yeah. That's not Superman. They cheap out on the budget. You can't do that. You watch these movies today, they're the successful ones, the big franchises, they increase their budget. They don't try to take the audience for granted as much as Superman 3 and 4 did. They were like, it's Superman.
It just felt like highway robbery. Like he walked out of that movie like, man, I was just robbed. They didn't even use a gun. I was just robbed.
The popcorn was good.
Oh, man. Canon Films has a long-running scam on film financiers. I believe that, man.
That was one of the... My wife watches a bunch of true crime shows, and one of them, there's like a Canon Films episode. And it basically they talk about how they were investigated in different, Europol and this and that and different people. And essentially, they would get people to put in $50 million for a movie. they would make the movie for $15 million, and then they would tell the investors that the movie lost money. Sorry.
That's what they tried to do with Mattel with the
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe film, and it backfired like crazy. Yeah.
So what happened to like $20-30 million? Well, that's why various law enforcement agencies in
Knocking
America,
on the door
Europe, South
with
America
warrants.
are knocking on the door with warrants.
So Nilo says in Superman 4 they used the same flying shot like a dozen times. They did.
times.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, you know, when you can see it, it felt like you know the Battlestar Galactica. What was it, 1980 or what?
Oh boy, classic 80s.
Yeah, that was just
It's
like
the same three Vipers.
give them
blowing
the
up. Oh.
give them the uniforms, put them in present day, and man, it'll be so cheap to film. And I was just like so disappointed.
Yeah,
you know, especially after the original.
One more little thing about Canon, like when the deal they made with Mattel was that Mattel was going to finance half that movie, and it just so happened that it was the first half, right? And so then like when it came time, they were like, no, we ain't got no money, Mattel. And so Mattel's like, what are we supposed to do? We got a toy line, and it crashed the toy line, bruh. That was like one of the craziest irresponsible moves Canon ever made, was canceling or causing partly the demise of a great action figure.
Because I mean, it came out as a toy, and then they had the TV series.
You go on Twitter, look at the hashtag. Fans have been fantasy casting a real He-Man movie for a while now, and they've got like Christopher, what's his name to be the guy who's Thor. Why can't I think his name?
Hemsworth.
Christopher Hemsworth is He-Man. They've got like a whole sort of, and I'll tell you right now, they have. Oh God, why can't I remember anybody's name? He's the Green Goblin in Spider-Man.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe is Skeletor.
Oh,
I got to tell you, I would tell anyone real quick, go on Twitter. They were doing it yesterday. I don't know if they did it today.
Who was Skeletor in the movie? It was Franklin Van.
It was Frank
Langella.
Yeah.
One of the best parts of that movie. But by the way, I love that movie.
Excellent.
I love that movie. It's stupid,
I did
but
too,
I love
actually.
it.
I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. And Langella was just phenomenal. He was, you know, but he's just a tremendous actor.
I think if you go look at that, you'll see some of the people they got cast in there. Very, very cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, they were trying. They wanted to make it a good movie, but thanks to Canon.
I would not be surprised to see that because it's been on various animated. It's been on Netflix. They've done a couple different ones. Some are more successful than others. Kevin Smith has sort of gotten the good news, bad news.
Right.
Of this, you know, he's gotten both, you know, shots and praise for it. I would not be surprised to see someone take a swing at Masters of the Universe as a live action.
Yeah, Marcus goes Gwildor and Orko. Yeah, with the budget they had, they were making no Orko. All right, so I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. As always,
oh my God, it's 8 o'clock, Robbie. Thank you as always.
Check out Robbie's YouTube channel, Pop Culture Philosophers, tonight for a review of Superman: Quest for Peace.
Thank you, JD.
And on the experience, I think we have Mishmash next. Thank you again, everybody. We will be back Wednesday, 6 to 8 for Comic Collectables. And
next Monday we'll pick up horror.
Next Monday, I promise TVB will pick up the horror. That will be the main topic of conversation. I swear. Wednesday, I'll be here with Alec and John from 6 to 8 Eastern. And then Nick has his original art show on Fridays from 7 to 8. So thanks again, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday.